The bag of chips exploded in my face just as the blue portal ripped open above my bed, showering me in neon crumbs and pixel dust. I didn't even have time to yell. The air snapped like a live wire, and a Roblox noob in a bright yellow shirt tumbled out onto my chest, still chewing like this was the most normal midnight snack crash ever. Behind him, my ceiling split into purple-gold polygons, and a tall shadow stepped through. The Sentinel, a slab of night with a bracket face flickering red like. He didn't walk so much as tilt, and my whole room tilted with him. "Bro," the noob said with a mouth full of chips, squinting at me like I was the weird one. "You got Wi-Fi?" The Sentinel's head jerked toward my phone, which buzzed like a dying bee. The screen popped up a gleaming error. Terms updated. Reality beta enabled. Continue? I tried to hit no, but the Sentinel was faster, 2 frames ahead of reality. He stabbed a finger of black brackets through the air and pressed yes. The portal snapped shut with a slurp and the scent of burned sugar. My posters fluttered. My heart decided to moonwalk out of my ribcage. My phone vibrated again. "Welcome to Trusted Connection. Your house is now an experience." The wall next to my closet unfolded into a glossy menu with floating buttons. Play/spectate/creator controls. The noob burped confetti and hopped off me like a cat. "Nice spawn point," he said, tossing the empty chip bag into my laundry bin. It landed, and a green tick, plus 10 points, clean shot, blinked in the air. "You can't be here," I told them. You're not real." The Sentinel's brackets glowed brighter. He reached into my monitor, which buzzed like it had swallowed a beehive, and pulled out a drum of pixelated text, patch notes. He unrolled it, and the words drifted around me like snow. "Layered clothing now binds to carbon-based avatars. NPCs may attempt to monetize." "Monetize what?" I asked, right as the noob discovered my kitchen through the open door. He sprinted like a toddler who had heard the word cake. And unfortunately for me, he was right. By the time I reached the hallway, he had both arms buried in the pantry. "Chips. Cookies. One of those cursed spicy noodles that come in funeral black packaging. Quest accepted," he mumbled, hauling a grocery avalanche to the counter. "Loot room IRL. Pog." The Sentinel's bracket face angled toward me, and text appeared across my vision like a HUD. Objective: host cross-world integration without collapsing local physics. Reward: still having a house. A scream cut up from the outside. I sprinted to the window. The neighborhood had gone wrong in 30 seconds flat. Streetlights blinked bright teal. Cars sat at weird angles like they'd been nudged by a giant invisible hand. On the sidewalk, a group of Roblox avatars, noobs and knights, and a guy wearing a giant banana hat, ran in slow motion, waving my neighbors' smartphones like trophies. Across the street, our school principal, Mr. Vega, in his bathrobe, chased after them flapping his arms. "Give me back my phone," he wheezed. One of the knights looked back, tilted his boxy head, and yelled, "Skill issue," and vaulted into a shimmering portal that opened in midair, a purple rectangle with a zipper sound. It zipped shut, and Mr. Vega crashed into nothing, hugging the air. The portal flickered, then popped back open like it had forgotten something. Mr. Vega's phone flew out, cracked in two, and smacked him in the forehead. The noob sidled up next to me, licking neon dust off his fingers, eyes glowing with the reflected chaos. "We should go outside," he said, like suggesting a walk. "IRL event." "I'm calling the police," I said, except my phone had other ideas. The Trusted Connection screen blossomed again. New options appeared. Go live/invite/monetize. A big red icon pulsed. Streaming bonus. Real-world crossover. Boost ×5. The app flipped my selfie camera on without asking. I got a jump scare of my own face. Sleep hair, neon crumbs, the Sentinel looming behind me like a punctuation mark for doom. The noob leaned into the frame. "Sup chat," he said. "Drop a like if you want us to break more things." "I'm not streaming," I hissed, trying to kill the app. But my thumb pressed air. The button slid away like oil on glass. The Sentinel's brackets narrowed. "Engagement critical," he said in a voice like someone scraping a metal comb across a violin. And then the stream counter exploded. A number I'd never seen in my life slapped onto my screen. Viewers climbing like a thermometer left in the Sahara. Comments rolled in, weirdly in Roblox text bubbles that floated out of the phone and bobbed near the ceiling. Bro, this IRL plugin is wild. Eat the chip crumbs off the floor, or L. Spawn the grimace shake. The noob saluted the phone with a Pringles lid. Chat wants chaos. Chat gets chaos. Absolutely not, I said, but I was already moving, pulled by a tide I couldn't see. That's how it began. Me in socks, my floors sticky with pixel sugar, sprinting into a night where the rules had been toggled to funny and the consequences set to yes. We exploded onto the porch. The night hummed. My neighborhood had turned into a map, my street's name hovering in low-poly letters. At the end of the block, two zombies, cute, blonde, clearly from a teenager's horror hobby, argued over a bag of Doritos with a soccer mom. You don't even have digestive systems, she shouted. One zombie shrugged and ate them anyway. The chips disintegrated into floating triangles that chimed like tiny bells. He giggled. I did not. A skateboard swerved past with an inventory screen thudding along behind it. A real kid, Danny, from down the block, kicked the board up and grinned at me, the blue UI reflecting in his eyes. Dude, everything has a hitbox now. This is dangerous, I said. Exactly, he beamed, then threw his phone into the air like a gamer offering a sacrifice. A tiny portal gulped it. Danny clapped. Free cloud storage. The noob stole my bike. I was too shocked to stop him. He pedaled like he had learned physics from a meme, knees at right angles, and still got wicked speed. To the gas station, he yelled. Chip's aisle raid. I chased him with the sentinel gliding behind me, bracket face flickering, and watched as the corner store lit up like it had respawned in Vegas. The automatic doors hiccuped and then rolled out a red carpet made of conveyor belts. The chip aisle had multiplied. It ran deep like a tunnel, the shelves duplicating in a glitchy loop with flavors I'm 90% sure aren't legal. Atomic birthday cake hot, sour cream and quantum, barbecue patch V3. 1. A vending fridge jittered on stubby legs and waddled toward us like a penguin. Tapped to open. It chirped. This is theft, I told the noob as he dove into the aisle head first. This is content, he shouted back, surfacing with armfuls. The sentinel floated to the counter, where a terrified cashier peeked over a stack of scratch-off lottery tickets. The sentinel placed a black bracket on the glass like a credit card. The receipt printed staticky, meters long, spilling around his feet and spelling. Paid with engagement. I heard the word engagement, and my gut did a barrel roll. My phone buzzed. You've earned. Creator coins times 500. A button. Cash out to snacks. The noob's eyes laser-focused on that button, like cats to a laser pointer. Do it, he breathed. No, I said, steady. We are going to return these chips. The noob blinked, then smirked. Plot twist, we're running a charity. He snapped his fingers. The doors would open like a game show reveal, and the entire football team from our high school stood outside, flanked by 3 Roblox zombies, 2 knights, and a guy with a duck head wearing a cape. Everyone cheered. Someone held a free chips for clout sign. The cashier's soul left his body for a minute, and then came back wearing antidepressants. Whatever, he muttered, sliding the bracket receipt into the register. Please don't break the slushy machine. 2 seconds later, a noob cannonballed into the slushy machine. The slushy machine, in its defense, tried. It flashed boss mode and grew spikes. It roared, a fizzing sound like a soda being shaken by God. It swallowed the noob up to his blocky waist, and then launched him across the store into the chips like a neon torpedo. I felt the first contour of true panic. It wasn't just silly. The goofy had teeth. We have to stop. The sentinel's brackets clicked toward me. Optimization, he said, and the slushy monster's spikes folded back into harmless plastic. The noob landed in a pile of plushies. My brain briefly registered that the plushies were us, little me dolls blinking like shocked potatoes, and the room hashed into a gentle laugh track that I did not consent to. Outside, a siren warbled and then hiccuped, switching to a kazoo noise. A police car rolled to a stop. 2 officers stepped out looking like they'd walked into a kindergarten drawing. One of them spoke carefully, like we were wild deer. We've received reports of, live-streamed vandalism. The noob raised both hands, chips crinkling. I can explain, he said, then tripped and accidentally tore a portal in the air with a Dorito. The officer stared at the floating triangle portal. Sir, he said to me, not blinking, you need to turn off whatever filter this is. I can't, I said, and meant it. Something shifted behind the officers. A tall, blocky figure in a suit stepped out of a glossy rectangle and adjusted his tie. He was a Roblox moderator, the kind that appears when someone types /report. His name floated above him, mod_Michael. He looked at me, and his eyes flickered in human frames too smooth for a game. "Hi," he said, voice crisp, too calm. "We're here to ensure safety." He gestured at the Sentinel. "And compliance." The Sentinel hummed. The officers' radios sprouted exclamation marks and then changed language to emotes. The officers collectively decided coffee sounded good and retreated to the car. Mod_Michael turned to my streaming phone, which hovered at shoulder height like a smug little drone. He smiled at it like at a colleague. "Congratulations," he said. "Your reality is trending." My stomach did that barrel roll again. "Turn it off." "I can't," he said, apologetic. "Only the creator can." "Who's the creator?" I asked, and immediately regretted it, because the chat screamed, "You," and my phone pinged me with creator tools unlocked. A toolbar expanded across the night sky. Sliders, toggles, spawn rate, gravity, NPC behavior, chaotic, helpful influencer. The noob hopped in place. "Influencer," he said, jabbing the air where only I could see. "Don't you dare," I started, but my hand had already twitched, because curiosity is a disease. The slider clicked to influencer. Every Roblox NPC on the block simultaneously lifted their phones. Ring lights popped into existence, haloing their block faces with heavenly doom. The banana hat guy began a makeup tutorial with barbecue chips for contour. A zombie started a healthy eats series where he ate limes whole. A knight tried to be a productivity guru and nearly cut his kneecap off. It was a disaster. It was perfect content. My views doubled, triple. The Sentinel's brackets pulsed like a heartbeat. We staggered through the night like it belonged to a cartoon, until we found ourselves in front of our school. It shouldn't have been open. It was 3 a.m, but the doors were already yawning and the lights inside were flickering between fluorescent and that unholy LED white that makes everyone look haunted. A new map label hovered over the roof. Level 2. Academic Apocalypse, Unrated Experience, Closed. And then the word closed crossed itself out and replaced with open for collapse. "Nope," I said, trying to back away. The sidewalk scrolled me forward like a treadmill. The noob gave me a thumbs up. The Sentinel aimed his brackets at the sky. Clouds scrolled aside like a stage curtain. We were going in whether I liked it or not. The hall smelled like pencil shavings and old fear. Lockers had UI over them now, inventory, and kids' names floated like ghost tags. Olivia's locker, rare notes. Danny's locker, suspicious gum. A low bass thump rolled out from the cafeteria, like a DJ had set up in the lunch line. And then I heard it, a whispering voice, layered with emoji noises. "Welcome back, creator," it said, not exactly to me, and somehow exactly to me. We rounded the corner, and the world tried to giggle itself apart. My classroom, room 201, was a full-blown stream studio. The whiteboard read goals. 1. Survive. 2. Viral. My English teacher, Ms. Franklin, sat cross-legged on her desk with a ring light. She looked exhausted in a way makeup can't help. Her eyes snapped to mine and softened. "Oh, thank God," she said. "You're the one doing this. Turn it off." "I'm not," I started. "That's what he wants you to think," she said, nodding at the Sentinel. "He told me to keep the audience engaged, or he'd turn the homework into loot boxes." "Not the loot boxes," the noob gasped, clutching his chips. The PA system crackled. A voice oozed out, smooth like a YouTuber sponsor read. "Attention student body, don't forget to like and subscribe to your own survival." The lights dimmed, then flashed. The projector screen snapped to life with me. Me from earlier that night. Me with chip dust on my face and terror in my eyes. The screen me looked out at the classroom, through me. "If you can see this," past me said, "it's already too late." The room laughed like it was a sitcom. I wanted to break my own video. The chat bubbles bobbed near the ceiling. "LMAO. This is cinema. Run challenge when." Miss Franklin stood, her ring light ghosting my eyeballs. "He arrived earlier," she whispered, pointing at the corner. "Said he was here to help." The corner wasn't a corner anymore. It was a thin, shiny rectangle of air, a door drawn by a child with a ruler. Through it, I saw a stairwell that wasn't ours. At the top stood mod_Michael, suit perfect, eyes like well-lit nothing. He smiled and stepped through, crisp as a new frame. We'll implement boundaries, he said. No permanent damage. Just good clean fun. He made eye contact with the sentinel. The brackets widened slightly. The agreement tasted like aluminum. A tremor shook the building, and the windows tessellated like stained glass. Boss approaches crawled across the ceiling. The cafeteria doors burst open and something ridiculous and terrifying waddled in. A titanic phone, 8 feet tall, with legs made of cables, and a screen showing my live chat. It squealed, a mashup of ringtones. At its center feathered a single crack, like a smile. Is that? Miss Franklin started. The algorithm, I said, because my mouth wanted to ruin my day. The algorithm galloped, majestic and wrong. It snatched a random student's phone from a desk. The phone tried to run away. It got swatted back like a fly. The algorithm twisted, bending like a cat playing with prey. It pulled the student's TikTok open, flicking through dances at brain-breaking speed. Everyone's phone felt the motion and squealed. The room's thumbs tried to upvote themselves. Set NPC behavior to helpful, Ms. Franklin hissed. I did, I said. They started dropshipping ebooks. The algorithm lunged. The sentinel stepped forward, bracket face blazing. For a moment, the two forces met and my ears popped. I saw their shape in the air, one a black absence of rules, the other a mirror made of us. The algorithm tried to swallow the sentinel's reflection and choked on it. The noob hurled a handful of chips at the algorithm screen. The chips bounced off. One stuck. The algorithm made a dial-up noise of deep offense. Run, mod_Michael said softly, and the floor complied, turning into a moving walkway down the hall whether we liked it or not. I'll handle this level. We were a sprinting mess again. Down the locker canyon, through a portal that winked into existence where the trophy case should be, onto the football field, but not our football field. This one was pinned under a sky grid like a bird under a net. Lines of code flowed across the goalposts. Bleachers stacked themselves to infinity. And on the 50-yard line, a dozen influencers posed with NPCs, ring lights glowing, doing dances that looked like someone had taught robots to be awkward. That one's from my For You page, the noob said reverently. He trotted toward a block-headed girl in a glitter dress who was blowing kisses to a drone. Hey, collab. She blinked at him, eyes huge and glassy, then at me. OMG, you're the creator, she said, and her voice came with auto-tune I did not request. Can you add a jump scare in like 2 minutes? We're about to have a low retention dip. I am not your retention, I told her, and lightning spelled L plus ratio across the sky. The field speaker system sputtered, then spoke in my past voice again. He didn't disappear, Videomi said. He reappeared at school. The screen cut to a hallway. It was live. It was now. The algorithm scooped mod_Michael up like a prize clawing a teddy bear and flung him into a trophy case. It turned its head and looked directly at my camera. And then I realized it was looking past my camera, at me. And then I realized it wasn't looking at me at all. It was looking at you, through me. My lungs tried to become origami birds. I killed the stream with a swipe, and the stream killed my swipe with a laugh. Can't stop now. The phone sang. You're almost at the climax. Okay, I said to the sky that had a toolbar. Fine. Chaos, but with rules. I slammed sliders, gravity to silly, NPCs to helpful but dumb, spawn rate to plot-driven. The field hiccuped. The influencers gasped as their ring lights sprouted legs and ran away like startled deer. A chorus of squeaky oofs echoed from the bleachers. Plan, Ms. Franklin panted, hair frizzing with static. Lure the algorithm, I said, sucking a breath through teeth, and delete what gives it power. Phones, she said, simultaneously. We looked at a stadium of teens and NPCs clutching their phones like life rafts. We can't tell them to drop them, the noob said, horrified. That's illegal. We don't need to tell them, I said. We need to distract them. I slammed event, free chips. The scoreboard erupted with a cascade of potato confetti and a glowing arrow pointing to the far concession stand. A siren like the world's least subtle lullaby wailed. The stadium turned, a single organism with the attention span of a toddler. They ran. The algorithm whirled, smelling drop and engagement. It thundered after the herd, leaving trenches of charging cable in the turf. The sentinel ghosted along its flank, brackets flashing. If ASCII could look worried, it did. We sprinted the other way, toward the gym, where a big switch had appeared, Reality stream. On. Turn it OFF, Miss Franklin said. It'll trigger the noob began. Do it, the sentinel said, voiced like a closing tomb. I grabbed the switch. My hands vibrated at frequencies usually reserved for dental tools. I yanked. The world inverted, like soda yanked backwards into a can. For an instant, everything was silent, like someone had pressed their finger on the pulse of the night. Then everything screamed at once. The portal above the school puked glitter. The algorithm crashed into the gym doors and pancaked into a QR code that read, Error 429. Too many realities. Mod_Michael crawled out of